Hey guys, welcome to Devotions today. Yesterday we were in Mark chapter 14 and Jesus was having the Last Supper with his disciples. An incredibly meaningful, emotional evening. One of the highest emotions was the point when he predicted that one of his disciples would deny him and betray him. He was obviously referring to Judas. But the fact that Jesus shared bread with Judas, the one who would betray him, Jesus gave him the Last Supper as well. And then at the end of the Last Supper, Jesus remembering something that we are bad at, and that is we are bad at remembering stuff. We have short memories. Jesus instituted a really beautiful ceremony that we have in churches that cross the world. Some families will have them together. Everybody has a different way of doing it, but all with the same thing in mind. Do this in remembrance of me. At the close of the supper, as they were eating, Jesus took the bread and he broke it and he gave it to his disciples, and he said to them, according to the passage, "Eat this in remembrance of me." This is a picture of my broken body. And the disciples who were looking, saying, "We don't really understand that, Jesus, but we'll do it." And then after the supper, he took the cup of wine and he gave it to his disciples, and he said, "Drink this in remembrance of me." It's a picture of my shed blood. Now, maybe they were beginning to put two and two together to realize that without the shedding of blood, there can be no forgiveness of sins. There's something that God instituted in the power of the blood of the Lamb that forgives sins. Now, the lambs of the Old Testament that we spoke about yesterday, they didn't forgive sins. Their blood was not shed that could forgive a sin, but their blood was a picture of the day that one day Jesus would come as the Lamb of God, and he would lay down his life. They would break his body, his perfect body, and then they would pierce his side with a spear. They would hang him upon the cross, and he would shed his blood for the sins of mankind. Jesus knows that as human beings, we have a tendency to forget. So we do this in remembrance of him. We remember the incredible sacrifice that he made on our behalf. We remember the culmination of the plan of God with the death and the soon-to-happen resurrection of Jesus. And then he refers here to the one day when he will come again and receive his children to himself. Jesus has got this incredible plan worked out for us. And Jesus is now culminating that plan at the cross with the Last Supper and ultimately his resurrection and ascension. But people, pick up the thought here. Without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. And Jesus would want for you to remember that. And so having communion and celebrating, it seems a strange paradox, doesn't it? We celebrate the death of a person, but I guess we get to celebrate the benefit that we derive from the death of that person. We celebrate the death of Christ and the remembrance that it's his blood and his blood alone, not your good works, not your good behavior, not you being a nice guy that gets you to heaven. It's the blood of the Lamb that is what gets us there. Now, many people who maybe you're watching this today and you don't get with all this Christianese terminology about stuff, but you've got to understand this one thing. When we refer to the blood of the Lamb, we're talking about Jesus. We're talking about his blood shed for us upon the cross. And I hope that as you contemplate this thought today, as you remember what Jesus has done for you, that you will remember what your response to what remembering him should look like. And that you would get down on your knees and that you would say, "God, thank you, thank you, thank you. That my good works weren't good enough, but your blood is perfect." Thank God for that today, people. Go and have a good day. We're celebrating on Sunday. We're going to be preaching this stuff, funnily enough, about the blood of the Lamb and the cross of reconciliation. And I hope that you guys who are local can come and join us. Have a great day in the meanwhile. Bye-bye.